Christmas can be an especially challenging time for vulnerable women, both in the home and while out socialising. To discuss the realities of domestic violence at this time of year and to offer advice and support for those affected and for concerned family members, I am joined by Dr Siobhán O'Connor, Director of Services with Clare Haven, and the Director of Rape Crisis Midwest, Siobhán O'Leary, also with me. And you're both very welcome to the show. And Siobhán, I mean, Christmas is often portrayed as a happy, safe time. Unfortunately, we know for some it isn't. Why can it be an especially difficult or dangerous time for vulnerable women?
This is for me. Good morning, Alan. Happy Christmas to you, if it's not too early to say. It can be not a happy Christmas for many women and children who are trapped, I suppose, is one way to describe it, in their home. I mean, Christmas Day, it's a bit of a, like the COVID when we spoke about it before. There's nowhere to go. There's no relief. There's nowhere for that kind of explosion to happen unless it's going to happen at the kitchen table or the dining room table or in the morning. And unfortunately, it is the more often than not, I would say 97% of our own cases would be the perpetrator is a man, and he is venting his whatever out on the women and children in his life who are surrounding him. And that really is that kind of expectation that Christmas is going to be magical and Christmas is going to be perfect and everything is going to be wonderful. And of course, if your expectations are so high, well, then nothing is going to please you. If you have a propensity to to try and have power and control over the women and children in your life, then you're probably a bit of looking for them to satisfy your needs around making this perfect day. So there's no way of indicating what's going to set anything off. I mean, we know that preventing violence against women and girls, our children, is fundamentally a leadership issue for men, and it really is up to men to take responsibility. So yes, I'm delighted to be here to talk about what the services we have to offer to women and children. But it's really up to the men in their lives to, accept that, maybe it's time to stop. Maybe it's to ask themselves, why are they doing this? Why are they turning their Christmas Day into a bad day when there's nowhere really for women to go other than to seek, legal support or from the Gardaí or come to ourselves? I mean, why would you chase people out of the home on what's supposed to be a happy day of the year? So we're really calling on men, the men who are perpetrators, obviously, to reflect on their behaviours, to reflect on why they are doing what they are doing. What is it that they are getting out of it? And is there any other source that they could get, whatever the I don't know, is it an adrenaline rush or the feeling of power? Is there anywhere else they can get that rather than taking it out on, the women and children in their lives who are really just at home trying to enjoy what, as you say, should be a safe, secure, magical time every year, particularly for small children, and with all the excitement around it, that, they can just hold off and reflect really on what they are doing and why they need to maybe cause upset and angst in their homes.
And Siobhán, given what you've outlined and the potential for Christmas to exacerbate serious issues that are already there, people at close quarters and so on, are you at Clare Haven typically seeing a significant increase in demand over Christmas or and possibly more complex cases too?
Well, what's interesting is this year we're really busy in the refuge, particularly, I suppose, the most crisis part of our service. And it's really busy, and it has been for the last 6 or 8 weeks. This time last year, it was very quiet. So there is no real indication that Christmas is going to be really busy, or are people going to, keep a lid on it, or are women and children going to just manage within their situation during the Christmas period? Because then last year, the New Year kind of took off. So it's like people were kind of trying to keep a lid on it for that duration, whereas this year it seems, I don't know, is it the different weather? I don't know, is there something in the air? But this year it seems already really busy, and from all around the country as well. So it's really difficult for us to predict what's going to happen, and it's really difficult, I suppose, for the women and children who are living with it to predict what's going to happen. Is this going to be a good day? Every morning when you wake up, is this going to be a good day? And so Christmas, I think, like all these things, sometimes it's just used as an excuse. I want to, act out today. I'm going to blame Christmas, more than I'm going to blame many of the other social issues in Ireland. But we don't really know what's going to happen. But we do know we're very busy in the crisis part of our service, and we're also very busy in our outreach, whereby people are getting information and getting support and finding out, what kind of things can they have set up if they do need to flee, because women are already anticipating what may happen, worst case scenario, hopefully.
And Siobhán O'Leary, what is the situation like then at Rape Crisis Midwest? And are you seeing a busier time this year than last year? Siobhán says it's hard to really put your finger on why that might be, but that is the case.
Yeah, morning, Ellen. Morning, Siobhán. Yeah, look, across the board, we're busier. I mean, like Siobhán says, it's a very, very hard thing to predict. Domestic and sexual violence is a very hard thing to predict. It's a very hard thing to track. We have spikes during the year. Maybe this is a certain time of year for us where we would see a spike. After Christmas parties, people are out, people are enjoying themselves, things happen. So, but I think, I think there has been, especially over the past couple of years, there is an extra awareness out there of things like consent and what is acceptable, but there's a proliferation of sexual and gender-based violence out there as well, so I think like across the board we are busier, which is a sad indictment, and I think that is whether you want to look at it in a siloed way or more of a societal attitude way. It depends really. I think every case is individual, but there certainly is an increase in people seeking support from our service.
Siobhán, are there, can friends or family help out here? People are at close quarters over Christmas. Are there, and perhaps friends and family members might see signs of something happening or something brewing that perhaps they should be alert to, Siobhán, that they could maybe to step in and prevent something wholly unpleasant happening?
With Siobhán, Alan, sorry.
Sorry for you, Siobhán O'Connor.
Absolutely. So we have to come up with different names for ourselves, Siobhán. We really do. As I said, it's predominantly it's fundamentally a leadership issue for men. So if you were sitting around the table whereby maybe the conversation has moved in a certain way, that old fashioned phrase of locker room talk, or if, the butt of every joke is, the mom or the girlfriend or the partner, maybe there is a time for everybody to step in and just not cause conflict, just say, don't really like that, or change the subject, or, take your in our case, your male relative aside and say, don't really like that. Would you not do that in front of me or in front of my children? Because it really is up to us all. I mean, the perpetrators are the primary cause of all of these things. However, it is up to us all not to allow it, not to kind of brush over it, not to give anything for the sake of, for peace and quiet, not to allow something to happen. Sometimes we have to step up and, not challenge in a negative way, but just challenge maybe the trajectory of conversation, or if you see something that you think is a bit, don't really like that doesn't really, suit what we've all learned in the last 10 years, particularly around, as Siobhán said, consent, around awareness of what would be perceived as maybe negative behaviour toward a partner. So we all have a role to play, absolutely. And that's where all the public awareness campaigns come from, and the education we and Siobhán Rape Crisis do around raising awareness of this. So yes, please, everybody take responsibility for what's happening to your loved one, because the mom or the partner is, and the child, don't forget the children are victims as well. They are relying on other people possibly to step in where they no longer can.
And Siobhán O'Leary, I guess if someone is worried about a woman in their life, what is the best way to offer support and perhaps intervene without putting her at greater risk?
Yeah, look, I think that can be a very sensitive, subject to broach, especially, because people see relationships as a very private thing. Some people do, but obviously, I like, if it was myself, say, if I was worried, I would have a conversation with the woman or the man, whoever you feel is, whoever is the person that is, being violent, or at the end of this violence, I'd have a conversation. I'd name it. I would name it. I think, and that's really important about, like Siobhán was saying, it's about naming this problematic behaviour, naming these problematic types of phrases that are used, or people think that, you know, being the butt of someone's joke is something funny. It's not. It is not. It's demeaning. It's coercive. It's a form of power, of using power over someone. So I suppose, like, the main message is to have a conversation with that person, you know, and I'm on about, let's say it's a member of your family or a friend, you know, just, you know, have that conversation. Go, is everything okay? Do you feel safe? You know, so it's simply having that small conversation and trying to find out, okay, and know about your local services, know about Clearhaven, know about Rape Crisis Midwest, know about ADAPT services, you know. So I think it's okay to have a conversation with somebody, but then have you the full information on hand with where you can go? Well, I think if you reached out to these people, they might be able to give you a bit of advice or whatever, like so. But I think that the main message is having that conversation. I mean, I think as a society we're bound up in these social privacy kind of rules, you know, especially if we see an issue happening in a relationship. You know, sometimes, you know, you have to name it, you know, and there's a little bit of bravery there, and there's a little bit of stepping outside of, okay, no, that's their business. You know, I think, like Siobhán was saying, it's a societal response. You know, if we are to truly remove domestic and sexual and gender-based violence from our society, it is all of our jobs to do that.
Of course, Siobhán O'Connor, some, be it friends or family members who may see something potentially brewing, may want to help and may think of saying something or doing something, but not have experience of proper intervention. Even if they're trying to help, Siobhán O'Connor, what should people potentially avoid saying or doing that, you know, that could end up exacerbating the situation or making it worse than it may possibly have been?
Yeah, well, I mean, every case is different, so it's very difficult to have any, you know, kind of common rules. But I mean, you know, the personalities you're dealing with. So I mean, if it's you're not going to humiliate somebody. You're not going to call them out in front of, you know, the rest of the family. You're not going to you try and, I suppose, rescue somebody either, because you have to know what's going on inside somebody's mind. So it's all very personal. What I would suggest is, you know, for people to note our number, to note Teen Line number, to note text 50101, and also Childline, because the people at the end of those lines, when you explain your situation specifically, you know, I mean, I could talk generally now about, well, if he does this, then do that. If she does this, then do that. But that might not be what you get presented with. Whereas if you reach out in advance, if you know something is a little bit precarious and you're going into it, or you go into something and you're a little bit kind of, you know, as I say, a bit cautious about it, ring the numbers, ask them, tell them what's just happened, and they will be able to give you direction. And I mean, what we would always do is, where possible, talk to the woman in our case in question and ask her to ring us, even just to listen, or for us to listen to her. We don't have to give advice. We don't give advice, to be honest. We will give you information, but sometimes it's just to talk it out is important. And then they will be able to, at the end of those helplines or those tech lines, they will be able to give you specific guidance to deal with the specific incident. But I mean, the obvious things, no matter what the situation is, anywhere where there's volatility, you're not going to add to it. You're not going to add, you know, fuel to the fire. At most, possibly, you might try and separate the two people. Oh, I just want to go and have a look at your new TV or whatever, you know, to separate them, and then get, if possible, to ask the question, is everything okay? And if it is, and she may well say, oh no, it's fine, you know what he's like, blah blah blah, but at least she knows you've asked the question, so you're interested in her. And that could be the first step, just to have somebody who is interested in you and hearing you and seeing you, as opposed to just getting caught up in the joke or the, you know, the slagging or whatever, which could be a lot deeper to the couple than maybe you even know as an observer. So be available, be ready, listen, but also use the helplines that are out there. And as I say, I really stress the one about Childline and Teen Line, because children and young people are in the middle of this an awful lot of time, and they're balancing so many things, and they're trying to be so many things to make the day happy, and so many of them take on responsibility if the day doesn't turn out nicely. So use the expertise that's out there. Nobody's asking everybody to be an expert in everything. There's expertise out there that everybody can access through their phones. We all have our phones at the end of our hands at this stage, or maybe not all, probably judging people there, but a lot of us, myself, have my phone at the end of my hand all the time. So, I'm just nipping to the bathroom, and a quick telephone call maybe might be the best thing in a situation if you find yourself in something that's a little adversarial.
And you have given out contact details there, Siobhán O'Connor, for Clare Haven itself, if anyone feels they need to get in touch for whatever reason.
Sure, Clare Haven, our helpline 24 hours, 7 days a week. There'll be somebody there on Christmas Day. 065 6822 435. Teen line, if you're a teenager and want to chat to somebody, 1-800-833-634. And Child's line as well is 1-800-666-666, the number of the devil. But if anybody is feeling at risk or scared, 999. Don't hesitate. Call the guards. They are there. They're really supportive. We're very lucky in County Clare with the Gardaí that we have. They will talk to you, they will come, and they will possibly just ease the situation a little bit. Don't hesitate in getting support, help, information, guidance that you have need of.
Yeah, and Siobhán O'Leary, it is important for women to know they're not alone, especially at this time of year, as you've both very well explained how it can be a potential powder keg. And even hearing this interview and hearing the contact details will be of comfort and some level of support. If people need to get in touch with Rape Crisis Midwest, how can they contact you?
Yeah, our own number is 1-800-311-511, and the national 24-hour rape crisis helpline is 1-800-778888, and that's 24/7 as well.
Okay, and just before I let you go, Siobhán O'Connor, good news for Clare Haven Services, funding of €15,000. This follows the call from COON, the National Agency for Domestic, Sexual and Gender-Based Violence, for targeted funding. I suppose very welcome at any time of year, but particularly we're talking about Christmas being a busy time. Yes. Good to get this news heading into the Christmas period.
Absolutely. I mean, we're coming to the end of the year. Budgets are wearing very thin, so it was great to get the bit of the boost. It'll go very much towards the infrastructure of the organisation, and then also around training with our staff and our board, because, once we have equipped ourselves, we're more equipped to work with our clients, and that's very important. But also, as I said, the infrastructure, because we all are, in the private sphere as well, we're all suffering a cost of living. Electricity has gone up, home heating oil has gone up, everything is going up. So this is kind of our little boost to drag us to the end of the year, so the budgets don't run out and the coffers aren't completely empty for the last month, and then we can focus then on working with the clients and not worrying about where's the next bill coming from or whatever. So it's fantastic. We're delighted to receive it.
Yeah, great news, and great to help you continue to do the fantastic work that you're doing over Christmas and throughout the year. My thanks to the two Siobháns, Dr Siobhán O'Connor there from Clare Haven Services, and from Rape Crisis Midwest, their Director Siobhán O'Leary. Thank you to both of you for joining me on Morning Focus, and a happy Christmas and New Year to you both. I'm sure we'll be speaking to you in 2026.